Kei te mihi atu ka koutou katoa ho mā, kia ora rawa atu. Mā lue lalei, whakalowhalahi atu. I bounce that way because it's Tonga and it's Niue in a crossover match here in game number 4 of the Pasifika Youth Cup. It's coming to you live from North Harbour Stadium, right here on Sky Sport. Good day, husband Tēnei. Great to have you along this afternoon. We haven't had a lot of rugby league local, have we, in recent times? So it's wonderful to see these young guys under 18s getting a chance to represent their nations. And who knows who might be exposed during the course of the 3-day tourney. Firstly, big up to the organisers to make sure that they came together so that we can get this tournament even under the restrictions that coronavirus has caused across the country. Great to be working again with Laole Monty Beetham. Nera te mihi kia koe, Monty. Great to have the chance to call some local rugby league. What's it going to mean for some of these young guys to get the chance to strut their stuff on the national stage?
Malo lavale sufu, malo le tautai. Well, it's perfect conditions for the people of Pasifika because they love to play open running rugby league.
Well, the Tongan team already have had a win under their belts. There are two Tongan teams. One's a development squad. This is the top liners who beat the Cook Islands earlier today in the first game. It was at 9 a.m, 36 points to 4. So they'll come into this game with a lot of confidence, and they are a class act. The Tongan Rugby League community have made sure to groom many of these players. They have tournaments for under 12s, 13s. So many of these guys have been identified a long time ago. So now's the chance for them to step up and represent their proud nation. In saying that too, quite obviously want to acknowledge the difficulties that the Tongan Kingdom is facing and the warmth from all New Zealanders, no matter what cultural direction you come from, to acknowledge the challenges that they are facing as a nation. Here is Niue, and one of the smaller nations of the Pacific. Perhaps small in land mass, but I tell you what, not small in pride. This is their lineup, and I know that they've got some talented players. They had a good win over Fiji in the 11 o'clock game. So 2 games, hot conditions as they make their way out here onto the stadium. Restrictions here, can't have more than 100 people anywhere in outside venues, and so big ups to the organisers of the Pasifika tourney to ensure that we can still go ahead with the competition despite those restrictions. A lot of Niue people call New Zealand home, and the majority in fact, but to be able to put together a team here is a wonderful acknowledgement of the pride they have in their land. We certainly wish them well this afternoon. A good win over Fiji a couple of hours ago, a 30-22 win, but they'll be up against it here against the Tongan squad that are stacked full of confidence and some fine players at the ready.
Yeah, both sides coming off a win, but as you mentioned before, it's a very hot conditions. It's conditions that both teams love to play in, but the fact that you have to back it up, it's all down to what you've got in the engine and what you can do in terms of getting that focus back on track and preparing well.
Well, the cultural components of the tournament are also vitally important. Kia ora to our viewers right through Aotearoa and streaming across the globe, and big ups to Sky Sport for bringing it on stage. As we settle ourselves for the cultural beginning to what should be a fine game of rugby league. Firstly, with our Niuean. Now the opportunity to respond from Te Tima Tonga. Both squads respectfully keeping their distance here at the stadium. huge Tongan pride. What an amazing nation it has been in producing superb athletes. And who knows where some of these young men may end up in their professional careers. Quite beautiful, and just the way it should be here in a Pasifika Cup that was really put together to enhance the opportunities of these young men to represent not just their countries, but as a shop front for what could be future massive international careers. And when we look at the Tongan team, when we look at past results for their men's team, knocking over Australia, knocking over Great Britain, we know that they are sort of a production line of amazing talent as they go into their karakia before we get underway here. The previous 3 games all played in great spirit. The chair of the Pasifika Rugby League scene, John Devonshire, also chairs New Zealand Māori Rugby League. He says that it's been played in great spirit and he didn't see one penalty for foul play in the 3 previous games. Big ups to Nigel as well for the way he called those 3 games. Looking forward to working with him again tomorrow. There are 4 games scheduled for tomorrow. There's still another one here due to kick off at 5 o'clock this afternoon, and then 3 games to wrap it up on Sunday. Hope you're able to join us for them. Good to have you along here. The games are played in 30-minute halves. There is unlimited interchange, and some new rules that will govern league in NZ are applicable here today. We'll talk you through them as they surface through the games. But right now we're looking for a good start. Now Niue will have to do just that. They had quite a battle against Fiji, but they're keen young men, and we're looking forward to seeing what they can deliver for us here this afternoon. Just a little mistake at the back from Alpha Kepu, which gives Niue a starting opportunity.
Well, that takes a little bit of sting out of the opposition. Obviously, they came out a little bit tired after both having wins today, even though they're playing 30-minute halves. I'll tell you what, the size of these guys, the collision, the physical nature of these Polynesian men, the Pasifika people, is there for everyone to see. But I'll tell you what, they won't be happy from that side. Tonga's point of view, their chance to run the ball. Now they have to defend very early on in the piece.
This is Diesel Follow feeding it here for Niue. A little bit of information, club teams and schools. But apart from that, like you at home, we're looking to see what occurs out on the track. And already a nice settling run first up for Niue on the far side of the field. 10 in from touch. Through the hands we come. That's Versace Waidahu, who will be steering the ship with the number 7 jersey on. At 9 is Jeremiah Cullen calling for the quick play the ball. That's delivered for him. 10 metres out, the back rower punches through to set the stage for the first real opportunity to attack. The back rower is Folomu Kamutoa, Alizai, and now it's Niue with a great opportunity and a full set at their disposal. Settler first, it's the back rower in. Tonga will be asked to shore up their defence early on in this clash. The big prop forward or bookend takes it forward. AJ Bacon, his brother, is the number 8 for this Niue team. Folau works it wide, finds Kohira. And Spinks Kohira is sorted out by the Tongan defence. Nice ball here, and this is Shane Bacon. Shane plays his footy for the Mangere East Hawks and plays it up for Cullen. Still a good opportunity here, looking for the cut-out pass, almost running behind his man, so it was nice thinking by Versace Waidahu. He's to ground, just a couple of metres out. Good chance here. Cullen has a quick look. His eyes dart up, and then the ball is on. Offload is smart, having to come back on the inside. There's an offload here. Little step, jinking. As it turns out, well, I thought the door had shut, that he'd hit the end of the cul-de-sac, but there's a late kick and a bit of a challenge out wide. It's come back here for Niue. Spin to the line. What a good try. What a wonderful start here for Niue.
As a Masiniu, he gets his first chance to touch the ball, gets it in the corner. It's been a dream start for this Niue side. They got the ball to kick off, set the tone defensively, but it wasn't the case. They got the ball back from the scrum. Some good play, some set players across in both the halves, combining nicely. Waidahu and also Folau. It was that cross kick too. Just on the last there, they put it across. Plenty of numbers in the picture. Bit of footwork there. Nice work to stay in. And Aza Masiniu, he's the one that gets the first one on the board for that today. You wouldn't have thought these guys had played today. Tell you what, plenty of energy levels. They're up high. And it's a great way to start the game if you're a Niue supporter.
Just 5 minutes in, it's been all Niue off that mistake from the kickoff. And Masiniu, who plays his footy for the Marlins out there in Manurewa and hails from De La Salle College, will be well pleased. He had a little work to do too, right in the corner when he did take receipt of the football. Had he have gone for the corner straight away, he wouldn't have got there. But he thought to pivot, twisted his body around, and was able to go low down on the inside. Good try to get them underway. Niue. And a nice little start there too, and a confidence booster for Azarius Missinui, excuse me. So now we're 30 metres out. Quite a kick if he's able to land this one. This is Jericho Felipe Taleso. And he hits that with a bit of style as he got the legs, just comes up a little short. Well, we'll forgive him for that too. There's a lot of anticipation in the build-up to this tourney and coming out on what's been a hot day. I had the aircon on the way over the bridge today and felt I needed it. These guys will be sweltering out there. And what it might be sort of mid-20s on the track, I'm sure it's pushing closer to 30 degrees.
Well, you said it, Dale. Has he got the legs? Not quite that time. And I think that's going to be the theme over the next 3 days. Who's got the legs to have those repeat efforts, back-to-back efforts to make sure you get up multiple times in the day. And I think that will see you through to the last dance, so to speak, on Sunday.
So it's all about ball retention and playing your set sensibly. That's a good charging run and goes straight against what I've just mentioned because the ball wasn't retained. It was full of attitude. But really they just needed to have a stronger percentage play in the early exchanges. This gives Tonga a good chance. And now they're well positioned to bounce back immediately on the Niuean try scored a few moments ago. To the right-hand side, they come out to Willie Piliu. Setting the stage for the back rower, taking 3 Niuean defenders. A lot of effort coming in here on Nathaniel Bullet. Piliu almost runs himself into trouble, recognises that he's best to take the tackle here. Tackle number 3. There's your time check there in the corner of the screen. So 6 minutes gone, 1 try scored. Plenty of opportunities. Gee, the track looks fantastic, doesn't it? I guess there hasn't been a lot of rugby league played on it. That's a shot for the line, but referee Paki Parkinson says, I'm not satisfied with that effort, and Niue survived what was a significant challenge and opportunity for Tonga.
Well, he ran into his own player, using him as a bit of a form of shepherd or obstruction. You can't do that in this game. I'll tell you what, though, the fact that he wanted to have go from dummy half, you see a lot of lively characters out there, especially the halves of this Niue side. I think Wadahu and Falau, you keep your eyes on them, the way they orchestrate play, quick on their feet, very lively characters.
Well, they had 8 players in this squad that were scheduled to turn out in this tournament. Turns out they've all gone to Australia early in the new year. They've been training with the squad. Now they're turning out in various SG ball opportunities with Australian clubs. So that's how important the Aussie scouts see the development of the Pasifika players here in NZ. Reputations to be made in games like these. It's a tough tournament. It's a tough tournament. 5 games across 3 days. As the downtowner comes off the foot of Guy Versace Wairehu. Shows plenty of ability and nice game management skills on show early on. This is Levon Alakulu.
Good run from the fullback. Had some work to do. Had multiple defenders there. The leg drive was there. It looked a bit more slight in terms of stature, but he had that leg drive and base to carry him through. Good way to start the set. Now here comes his forwards.
And Levon, like many here in the Tongan team, have connections to St Paul's, and what a sterling reputation that school has and has had over the years, producing top flight players in the 13-man code. 22 metres in from what is the northern touchline here. This ground running east to west. Great little run here from Alpha Kepu. Kepu delivers out to the right, and the kick into the end goal's quite smart. Well, it's set up, though. It's just got a little bit too much gas on it. The thinking was sound. The execution not quite there, but willing to chance their hand the outside backs here for Tonga this afternoon.
Oh, the skill set to be able to do that from both the players. Kepu and, of course, their Makasini putting boots of ball. Both men down that right edge, that right flank. They look very dangerous. Plenty of speed, no doubt.
Well, last time Niue had the ball, they couldn't control it. Now it's important they do. This is Jericho Felipe Taleso spinning in the tackle as the defenders come in. Sally Faiamani making the tackle. So, Niue. Good defensive line moving up collectively. Kylin Vunapula. He's got some skill, but perhaps in the mix for just a moment too long. Parkinson says, come on, fellas, I want you to roll away quickly. We want more action. And that really is what's guiding rule changes and attitudes on the field with our whistleblowers, trying to get the game faster. It's become a very fast game.
Oh, it's very fast.
Years, and
so
now
when
even
you can,
more.
you slow it down, and that was hand on the ball. Referee Paki Parkinson said you can't be doing that, slowing it down. The collisions, though, the first up contact from this Tongan side is very good, but they need to keep their discipline because in time they'll get into this arm wrestle. Oh, I don't know if there was quite hands there, but tell you what, the physicality is what Tonga is known for. They need to keep doing this and for longer periods of time.
Let's see Matau in the 13 jersey for Tonga. He's from Wesley College. I like the way that they're talking a lot with each other, both teams, encouraging each other. It's the team that makes the least mistakes that will come away with the 2 points late in the game. That's Zakaria Stevenson to his feet. It's Cullen, short side play now, little dummy and a straightened run from Versace Wairehu. Some pretty good D coming in here at the moment. It's the 5th and final tackle, so some pressure on. To the number 6 we go, Falau. He launches it up. Nicely taken and then forced back into the in goal. I'm pretty sure that it was Siale Faamani who climbed for the ball. But some great defence from Niue gives them another opportunity as the Tongan squad find themselves under the crossbar for the restart.
Well, they're up, aren't they? This Niue side, they look somewhat, as we start this match, the most complete of the two sides defensively with the ball in hand across the paddock, really. Some good work there from the Tongan side to really make some collisions and see what they get to do now with their back-to-back set for their half to feature heavily.
Good to see Danny Bernard at the helm of Niue and a long-time Glenora man. A number of these players turn out for that proud West Auckland club too. This is a weaving run, finding themselves in good field position. As you can see, there's only 6 or 7 metres out now as it comes across field. A drop-off on the inside was a potential approach. That's the 16, James Tulisi. The management here and the strategy of employment regarding the reserves is so vital. We're back in the corner here and to the line we go, rolling towards the put down. But is it successful? It could be number 2 for Asa Niue. Sadly for him, he didn't get the ball to ground. He's asked to back up.
Well, we're talking about these guys, Makasini, Kepu, what they did with the ball in hand. That time they came back and they were very good defensively. You're going to need to do that. This Niue side coming down this flank especially. I love to test them there.
Well, that could be a try because it looked as though it has gone backwards. It was flicked back on the inside before being bundled into touch. And that, indeed, is the way the referee and the touch judge see the action. Niue in for try number 2.
Imagine how hot this side is looking, Niue. They really are playing upbeat at the moment. If you look at the Tongan side, they're a little bit down. You know, as we see, just this big man coming forward. He's got a number of people in there. They're trying to take him out. He releases the ball before he goes over the line. Goes in for his second try. Asa Niue. Very good work. Both times when he scored his tries, he hasn't had much room to move. That time especially, you probably wouldn't score an easier try in terms of being right on the sideline and being in a position where you get pushed out. He's done really well to get low and score tries.
Well, Shane Bacon, I really like the angle that he ran, headed towards the corner, but with a bit of attitude, a bit of swagger, and a bit of confidence. And yes, he was looking as though he'd be bundled into touch. But to his credit, at the last minute, thought, no, if I can leave it back and behind, we're still a chance. And his mate, Mr. Niue, was there to capitalise. 8-0 with a kick from wide out this time around. Not even looking close, but again, can be forgiven. He'll be wanting to do better next time with the kick. That's Versace Waidehu. But what a start here for Niue. Tonga, one of the favourites for the competition. I'd have to suggest New Zealand Māori, after their effort today as well, might be considered that. But take nothing away here from Niue. They're looking for win number 2. And they're off to an exceptional start here at North Harbour Stadium. Great to have you along. If you've just tuned in this Friday afternoon, you're watching the Pasifika Youth Cup, brought to you proudly by Sky Sport. 16 to play in the first half. Last time, Niue got the ball from the kickoff. They faltered. Let's see if they can steady the ship here and consolidate where they are. A dominant position so far, but they need to maintain the focus and the good work. Steady as she goes at the moment, Lowly.
Very nice, very nice. You see these guys, I think in the last try, Augustino Filippo, that got out of dummy half. Very well coached side. They don't just play collision football, one-out football. They run nicely. They put players in holes. And that is directly mainly off these halves that they've got. Waidehu and also Falau. Once again, through the middle as well. Everyone knows their roles and they play their roles well.
Yeah, steady. Over the years, I guess these young guys have watched how the spine is so integral to the shape of attack. And so they are guiding this squad very well as the fullback is lifted off the ground. That's Cullen, as you mentioned, the 6, the 7. Haven't seen Financier getting into the mix so much as yet, but I'm sure as time rolls by, we'll see more of him. Zakaria Stevenson with the defensive play. This is Spinks Koida. He's to ground, centre field, 40 metres out now from the Niue line, and a penalty ensues. They'll welcome that in these hot and challenging conditions here at North Harbour.
Well, they needed that. Kepu making sure he comes in and does a little bit of work, fighting to play the ball, got in good body position, and by doing that, showing that energy, he's got his chance for the team to have another set of 6. Good position here for Tonga.
Nathaniel
Pulle will get in, will be good.
Kia ora, Nathaniel Pulle now, 25 metres out from the try line. Little dummy, a straightened run. It's about field position, it's about momentum, and now it's about a penalty. Hang on a second. Paki Parkinson's Hoha now, so he'll call one of these players out, have a couple of words with him, slowing down the play. And the skipper comes in from the right wing. I'm not sure we've got mics at the moment, but Luli will know what he is saying.
Yeah, I think he's obviously saying there was deliberate use of trying to slow that down. Tonga were having some good periods there with the ball in hand, and I think if they stay nice and relaxed, use this ball, they'll find some joy with scoring their first points.
So Vunapulu gets us underway, and now they start to line up, saying, yeah, I'm ready for some work. 22 is Pasifika Youth. He's only 5 metres out from the try line. Here comes big Sikapule. He's pulled down. 2 metres out from the try line. Now's a big chance. Vunapolo has some options. To the right he comes with Peliu. Peels it back on the inside. To the line go Tonga, but they can't quite get over the chalk. Back to the back line, and there's the hole through the middle. Now that's smart play. That's good play from Tonga. The setup was good, and the try beside the post from the big number 8 is most welcomed. Sikapule in to score the try, which we assume will be converted. We will be looking at an 8-6 scoreline in just a moment. Strong play from the Tonga under-18s.
Well, from Peliu to Pole, it was very nice. He got himself into a nice situation in terms of running at haps and goals. He got straight past. It was a face ball past out, and the big man was able to get there. Sikapole. And I tell you what, with this Tongan side, with the ball in hand, and they'll take great joy from that and confidence, realising when they know if they get down this end of the field, they play a little bit of football, because there wasn't much football being played. They are very big, strong, athletic athletes that can score tries. Just from a sheer weight of possession, it's going to take its toll.
Well, you can understand if they're feeling a bit gassed out there at the moment, too, these players. They're really drawing in the water. The on-field communication is vital, and Niue will be a little disappointed as we see some significant work on the bench at the moment. You can understand that too. And the heat of the afternoon sun, important to rotate the players out on the track. But the Tongan pride is well noted as the big number 8. And also Philco get a chance to take a breather as this cover phone no. And here's the restart from Niue. Well, they've got to maintain the enthusiasm that they've opened up the exchanges with. Monty, Tonga, their confidence levels will be up after that effort. But it was also a mistake centre field right in front of their line. Laying on the tackled player for too long that resulted in the penalty, and therefore the opportunity to pounce. And Tonga didn't need a second invitation. Back on the inside, they come. The big man gets whacked and put away. Sam Afu. He's a couple of metres out from the halfway line, but just sent some build of momentum here for Tonga. The back rower, Tau, shrugs off a couple of defenders and picks up 10 or 15 metres. This is Sualangapo, and another penalty for Tonga. Niue making life tough for themselves.
Oh, you mentioned that. I mean, they're big athletes in this Tongan side. They've already got their tails up. They're full of energy after scoring that try, and the fact to give them back-to-back sets with the ball in hand, that's not what you want to do. It was a great shot there from Penny. Ben Penny came across. He timed it nicely. Then he pointed up for the next victim, who wasn't to beat. Last time Tonga were in this position, they scored. What can they do with this set?
20 metres out now, and Tonga set the stage, come charging towards the Niue defence, full of attitude and enthusiasm. Just what the coach wants to see. Solomon Faketi. Now it's out to the big number 21, Afu. He's only a metre away from the try line, so Niue could face back-to-back tries. They need to be very careful here. This ball's gone to ground, but it's gone backwards. And Tonga will retain possession, albeit thrown towards the touchline. Skillful defensive work here from Niue.
That's exactly what you want. It's going to change things up. The momentum was fully in Tonga's possession, or what they were doing with the ball in hand. Tell you what, big bit of play there by the Niue side. They put a stop to that. Now it's their chance to come out from their own end. Be nice to get some of their dummy half runners scattering. Look at that ferocious defence, Dale Husband.
Oh, that sort of pushed the head back, didn't it, mate? He thought he was going forward, and all of a sudden, he's going seriously backwards. Out to Jericho Felipe Taliso. Look at the Tongan defence. It's as if the men just sense we've got a massive chance here, and now they've forced another opportunity to get hold of the football, although there's the hands in. Just an explanation there in the new rules applying to New Zealand Rugby League this season, and Nigel mentioned it in the last game as well. If the player is tackled into touch, as we witnessed a few moments ago, the restart's going to be a play the ball 20 metres in field, opposite where the player went into touch. Now, previously, that was a scrum. This is all designed to make the game even faster. As if these young guys need that, they'll be absolutely gassed by the end of this 30-minute run, which is now 8.5 minutes away. 2 tries, 2-1. Sikapule in for Tonga, and 2 for the left wing for Niue, Mr. Niue. They've still got the ball though. This is Niue and a fresh pair of legs into the action for Niue.
Hasn't the energy lifted? It's been great. He's obviously on the ground right now. Good scampering run from himself, but I tell you what, when you think about the crowd or the lack of crowd, it's a bit of a travesty because the energy is lifted here. It's a wonderful day to see these young men play the way they're playing. We see Niue coming back now. Both sides are looking at jumping up.
Well, this young fella's number 20, and if I'm not able to exactly ID him, we've got 17 listed for Niue. But there's going to be these sorts of situations that might emerge from time to time. Stay with us, plenty of footy still to come. This is, of course, Tonga against Niue. New Zealand Māori line up against the Cook Islands. That's the 5 p.m. game here on Sky Sport 4. So that was the injury the player has since recovered from. And he says, play on. Look, the chip for the regather. That's an interesting tactic. Doesn't work out this time, but there's a bit of swag going on as well for Versace Waidehu.
Oh, it's been good. He has a go. This is what you need a bit more from Tonga. The simple runs out of dummy half with a bit of support play. I tell you what, it makes it hard for these guys who are defending. If you get used to seeing the one-out runs every time, the change of tempo like this run, it's been brilliant. Quick feet.
Fire money. He looks like he has some potent weaponry that can punch through the defensive line. Now the chip over the top is a tactic that is employed by Tonga, and a knock-on deemed by Niue. And so we'll have a scrum, packing down 20 metres in from the northern touchline, 15 metres out from the Niue line. As you can see, 8-6, the scoreline after that try close to the posts from Sikapule. But it's still anyone's game here, and both teams realise the importance of getting a victory here this afternoon.
You mentioned Tonga as one of the favourites here in terms of talent, but it's what team can manage them the best in terms of injuries and repairing after games and recovering and getting up for the next one. And I think that's going to be a key driver in terms of success in the next 3 days.
As a chopper comes overhead, you'll hear it in the background, 10 metres out from the try line. It's Tonga who are wanting to chop up this defence that Niue are providing. Look at this big charging run. It's Siale Suelanga Pup, and he is close to the line. To the right. Now the drop-off. Can they hold him back? No, they can't. Nathaniel Pule is too strong from close range, and he scores 10 metres to the right-hand side of the posts.
I think it's Fehoko. He got across. He scored a try. It was off a nice cut play. But I tell you what, it was the captain, Biliu. He's been good too. As you notice, the heads drop. Very good work from this Tongan side. They got their chance. Remember, when they're down here, they've been scoring some tries. Now you got it right, Nathaniel Pule. He was the man that came across. Apologies for that, Dale Husband. Tell you what, it was the body position and how he came across. He cut the angle and he kicked out straight away. Got nice and low. The defence were there, plenty there. The fact that he could get low, knew what he was doing and got across was very good for this Tongan side. That's the thing with this Tongan side. They know that they can score points. They just need to be in the right end of the field, hold possession, and they'll live up to the favourites tag of why many people are having a look over their shoulder at them.
You know, it must have been a really difficult period here for these young guys in red, knowing of the volcanic eruption, the tsunami that affected their homeland, their villages. Many of these guys are born here, sure, but they have strong connections back home as we see the conversion attempt successful. And it was the lack of communication for days, and then in some villages, weeks, post-eruption. That must have been really hard to deal with. Keep that in mind while you're also expected to turn up to training, and I bet they worked them hard. 5 weeks they've been together preparing for this tournament. So we salute the efforts of the Tongan community And you would have seen all the footage from Mount Smart as they turned up. There were traffic jams everywhere as whānau from NZ wanted to support them back in the islands. And we certainly are conscious of our need to be mindful as Pasifika people that when there are challenges of that nature, that we are all one. Here's the restart. Niue is with us. So it's the Pule boys who've been doing so well. That's a charging. And look, you wouldn't think that there's nobody here because there's a surge from the few Tongan supporters who are here. Tonga looking to get some traction on the far side comes Fire Money. I love the look of this guy. Away he goes. He's got a runner on the inside. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the magic stuff that we know Tonga can produce. Sparkling rugby league, and it's the fullback, Lagulu, who profits from the inside ball. Beautifully delivered as well from Fire Money. And what a great effort for Tonga, back-to-back tries.
No, it's wonderful to see that this tournament is still taking place. As you mentioned, 100 people is obviously what you can have in the red settings, but it's a travesty that we can't have a live crowd here with everyone watching what we can see unfold here on Sky Sports, because I tell you what, this Tonga team is awake and they are playing with reckless abandonment. Look at that big man with the offload, and you're pushing in numbers. That's the great thing about it. We see this style from the Pasifika people once again, in the speed, the in and away from Faimani. And there's plenty of people in and around. You mentioned La'akolu, who was there to score it in the end, but there's a lot of guys still got their ball in one hand, but he could free up their pass on the inside, as all good fullbacks should be. They should be trailing with a big smile on his face. I think he could be in for a few more of those over the next couple of days, Dale.
It's a neat opportunity. Of course, a lot of them go to boys' schools and proud Christian colleges. St. Paul's and St. Peter's feature prominently here. Mount Albert Grammar, Sacred Heart. So there's a thread of faith that is certainly evident here with the Tongan squad who have kicked out to a 10-point lead as we kick close to the half-time hooter. But it's been a classy effort here from Tonga after a pretty decent start there from the Niuean squad, who got the first couple of tries and for the first quarter hour dominated. As we go into the last couple of minutes, though, it's a 10-point split, and Tonga looking sharp. And that try was, got to tell you what, I'm really looking forward to some more work from Siale Fire Money. I think that he's got some great skill, and certainly once he sees a little bit of grass ahead, he can get around his man. And there's a shunt, like an express train. And a penalty for no arms here. We're coming off second best, perhaps Shane Sua-Bacon. I'm okay with that.
You're okay with that? I love it. It is brilliant. And I'm thinking that I'm here seeing the Red Sea of Tonga, Matema Tonga, go crazy, because I tell you what, the crowd, which is less than 100, of course, absolutely love it.
Well, you like those big bullocking runs. I seek out the finesse, the dancing feet, the subtle offload.
Each to their own, Dale. Each to their own.
You're just a brutal character, Lowly. That's why you got in trouble so much when you're on the NRL field.
That's a bit of an anticlimax. Lost the ball there. But that's the thing with all these sides over the next 3 days, is understanding that if you've got patience with the ball in hand, that you can do a lot of damage. A lot of class, attacking ability on both sides. He who holds the ball is going to be the one that's going to be victorious.
Well, a lot of these guys would have grown up with parents who would have put 6 footballs in their cots so that their hand was always on the ball. Oh, maybe that's our family. I'm not quite sure. So can Niue strike back here? They've only got, well, no time at all. So that's half time, an entertaining half of rugby league. Hope you're enjoying it, the action, here from this Pasifika Youth Cup. Plenty to like about the attitude on show here. Remember, this is the second game that both of these teams have played in sweltering conditions. We're at the half-time break here in the clash between Tonga and Niue. It's a 10-point split, 18-8 at North Harbour Stadium, and you're watching the action right here on Sky Sport. Kia ora and welcome back, and a beautiful, beautiful sky, cloudless, and tough conditions for these young men, but even so, 5 very enjoyable tries through that first half. Tonga taking control late in the 30-minute half. Let's have a look at how things panned out, and the first try was a scrambling effort with a crossfield kick that couldn't be handled at the back, and it was the left wing, that's him, missing Niue, who was able to spin his way to success. That was followed up by a decent charging run here from Sikapole. He had the foresight to drop the ball back. Referee Paki Parkinson was close by, and after just 10 minutes, we were looking at 8-0. Tonga came back in style, though.
Yeah, Sikapole, he got his team back on the board, and I tell you what, it's a bit of work to do, and Tonga came back down this end again. And you mentioned it was his brother's turn this time, Nathaniel Pule, who knew off that cut he was going to kick straight back out, and the body position from this powerful young man was good to see.
And the final try was a beauty. Have a look at this work. It was lovely play out the back, shunting and charging run, and then a wonderful little offload. This guy's got some pace. Have a look at him. He gets around his man, sets himself nicely, knows that there's a runner on the inside, and feeds it back there for the fullback, La'akulu, who was able to smile his way to the try line. And that was a fine try, just a couple of minutes out from the halftime break. Tonga continue their good run of form. It will take a very strong effort here from Niue to get across the top of them here this afternoon. They had a good win earlier on. If you've just joined us, Tonga in the first game of the day. This was at 9 o'clock this morning, knocking over the Cooks 36-4, following our 11 o'clock game where Niue beat Fiji 30-22, and then, of course, New Zealand Māori knocking over the Tongan development squad by 40 points to 12. It's great to have you along here on Sky Sport. Our husband with lovely Monty Beetham as we look to get underway for the second 30. Whichever way you look at it, even if there is no crowd, it's just great to have live sport again in Aotearoa. Gee, it's been a nightmare, hasn't it, for so many careers, occasions, and efforts, and we just sense we can see the light at the end of the tunnel as a nation, and then dirty old Omicron comes in and shuts the door on us. But we're out here, there's less than 100 people, all protocols are being observed by broadcasters, by players and support staff as well. So we're just pleased to have some live action here that you can enjoy at home as well. Hope you guys are keeping safe. We're underway again with the second 30, and the restart into the hands of Fuka, and Niue will have to be mindful that it's important that they get decent field position early on in this second half. I'm sure that's what Danny Bernard, coach, would have spoken to them about. Again, steady as she goes, get to the back end of the set, get a good kick away, a good chase, punch into the corners. I mean, I know they're cliched lines, but that's the way footy games are won.
Well, Tonga's doing a great job in terms of slowing down the ruck. They're winning the collisions and then they're lying in. Nice bit of deception around the dummy half, and that's what you need, some sort of half breaks. Get up, play the ball, the next one gets the joy and gets the momentum going after that. Oh.
No plays the ball, and then it's shuffled on with Piliu. There's a kick, I'm not sure went as deep as they needed it to. Steady at the back is Nathan Cassidy, Natano.
This is not where you want Tonga getting the ball, and we saw the running that they had in the back end of the first half. Now they get in this sort of position. Then 2 tackles are going to be in the opposition half. They'll be very dangerous. Look at that foot speed out of dummy half. Great carry.
I've been impressed by the workload that Piliu is getting himself involved in. Willing to have a dig, that's for sure. The standoff, the ball was nicely collected from behind.
Yeah, Simatau, love it when he came forward and what he's doing. I love seeing big men when they're actually passing the ball. Went to the back door then, but I don't know if that was quite the option, but they keep it alive anyway. Thing about these boys.
With the ball, Tonga, and with the momentum out of the hands. Kicked across the top, pushed back on the inside. And a little mistake there from Greg Veer.
Sashi Wadahoot coming across, closing that one down. He needed to. Tonga looking to keep that one alive. I think they got one more pass away. It would have been good.
But Dusty is 2.5 minutes into this second half. Versace Waidehu getting some attention here. Actually, he's down from Whangarei Boys. He plays for the Takahiwai Warriors, Versace Waidehu. Had a run with the Northern Swords also. So it's great to have him with us here in Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland. 20 metres in, 25 out from the Niue line.
But lose this one out, sort of running from Niue, because I tell you what, getting it up by Sam Afu and a lot of the boys, they like those collisions, they like the one-out runs. Seem to line you up and finish you off. Go back to what they were doing in the first half, early on in the piece. Answer dummy half, bit of deception around the ruck. That's exactly what you need. A pass off now.
That's a nice ball here. That's a shame. Su'a Bacon has got himself involved in some of the heavy work as well. Got penalised for no arms. Many at home probably dispute that call as Niue decide that they'll give it some air. And that's been touched now back into the end goal. Will it go over the dead ball line? It's certainly a chance to do just that. And that's what occurs. The chase back there from Lakulu. Thought he had it. Then it just escaped from his grasp. So we will have the restart under the crossbar and a chance here to mount a challenge for Niue. They need to be first to score here in the second half.
Just a reminder for the people at home, if you're tuning in, both these teams won earlier games today, so it's the second match for the day. And when you're coming back, you're playing in this heat, when you're playing in these fast-paced games and you have a mistake like that, an unforced error, it really does hurt you. So there's a few heads down. Best thing you can do now is attack with defence. It's a good start to this set.
Felipe Talaso goes into acting half. A little bit sluggish on the delivery there to Rimanui Fasita, or Fasitoa. My apologies. He'll play it for Cullen. Now, Cullen's a smart operator as we get Tulisi into the mix, but a call comes from the touch judge.
It was a late call as a forward pass.
Yes.
Paki Parkinson got it in the end, which was good. It's not easy. It's just out of him by himself. I don't know if he's getting too many comms or doesn't have the benefit of having someone up in the high in the sky, replays and so on in your ear. Fine job.
Well, it's old school now. Hey, you look across at your touchies. You get a bit of a flag wave instead of, as you say, the digital communication from afar. Scrum feed. Fuka. Out it comes. Tonga. Piliu, who has been really instrumental in this Tongan attack. Always crabbing forward and thinking of an opportunity. Where can I eke out a few more metres? Pula, skillful. Yeah, this is some good yardage. It's been picked up here and a penalty to boot. So Niue making life tough for them. Just over 5 gone in this second 30. Looking to the far side of the field. Pula.
Well, you really got to share the sets out when you're facing a team like Tonga, who are just so dangerous at carrying the ball. Even when you do make the tackles, will stop them from progressing too far forward. It takes energy out of you, energy sapping.
Here they come, the big men, trying to impose their will. That's a good run.
Yep, Charlotte, very good indeed. He came down this side. Still a bit of a slow play of the ball, but they've got a bit of shape out wide. This man, he has been good today. Dole.
You can sense that Niue are just dragging the chain a little bit defensively. I think they're starting to tire. You can forgive them for that as the inside ball exposes an opportunity, which is duly taken by Patrick Moimoi. And a fine run. The thinking for the inside pass was smart. You could sense that Niue were gassed and an opportunity existed on the inside. And Patrick Moimoi was there to take advantage. Good try once again to Tonga.
It was very well set up. As you see, they come across. It was Piliu who's been very good today. And Moimoi, he's got the running style, even has the braids in the hair like Fui Fui Moimoi. one of the cult figures of yesterday. Tell you what, he knew he was going to come that whole way. They set it up beautifully. Billy Yu drifting across, comes back in on the inside shoulder, draws his man in, makes it enough room for him to get forward. Patrick Moi, more of that young man.
Good to see it, of course, another of the proud representatives of De La Salle College, Patrick. And he was always fancying his chances with that inside angled run. But he needed the ball to affect it, and it was a skillful drop-off on the inside there from the standoff. Earlier today, Niue scored a number of tries. They couldn't convert many too, so their kicking for conversions has been pretty ordinary to say the least. This time around, the flags are up. And another 6 points onto the tally here for Tonga. They kick it out to 24-8. Well, we're talking about this wonderful stadium and how many great games we've seen there. One that I remember, and I think you played in, was at the time 3 tries were scored. I remember saluting those 3 tries with 3 hot dogs with my 2 sons. It was way back, but one that long lives in the memory at this stadium.
Yes. It was way back, 2003, the 100th test between Australia and New Zealand, and I think it was Clinton Taupu who scored the hat-trick that day. Benny Anderson scored 2, and we had 11 Warriors playing in the Kiwi side, and we had 1 Warrior playing for the Australian side. So there was 12 Warriors total. That was Richard Villasanti, and it was a great win to finish off 2003 season.
That was here at this stadium, and while we've got a moment, look, I know that our Filipinos posted that Olsen's not well. So spare a thought for our bro over there in Sydney. He's been such a neat character for New Zealand Rugby League, and I'm doubting that he'll be watching our commentary because I think he's in hospital with some kidney issues. But, the aloha from all rugby league peeps, certainly being steered across the Tasman and hoping that he's able to overcome this difficulty. Also in Filipina, the very best to you and to you, Alf, and the rest of the clan. You've been such strong supporters of rugby league, so all the best going forward. Here's Tonga, getting themselves set. This guy's had a terrific game, Willie, and a little knock on at the back as well. So everything's coming up roses for the team in red.
Yeah, you mentioned it, Willie. He's had a good game. He is the captain. He's been everywhere. He's certainly a good runner himself, but spends the majority of his time trying to get his outsides in better positions than him. Also, Simatau, who's been there as well, he's done a lot of the hard yards. And you mentioned Olsen Filipina. That run just before you called that was reminiscent of that straight, strong, and definitely making a dent.
Well, there are a number of these guys who have already been ID'd by the Warriors in their development system. The man that we've just mentioned too, the number 6, certainly that's the case for him. And the number 9, this guy with the ball, Kylam Vunipulo, he was adjudged New Zealand Rugby League's under-16 player of the year. So he's obviously got some skills from Palmerston North boys. As we see a little bump off and an easy run to the try for the back rower.
Yeah, mentioned him just before, about a minute before he scored that try. Beautiful bit of work. It was the bump, a la Olsen Filipina. He's got that sort of build, I tell you what, but he's also got a rugby league IQ that I like. He knows what to do. He knows when to take the tough carries. He knows when to promote the ball to his outside men. That's pretty good. There's the bump we were speaking about. Then acceleration once again. He didn't try and just bowl over that guy. He just used his swerve. So he's got a full kit of tricks. He's going to be a good one. Very hard to tackle guys like that, a bit lower to the ground. Big buttocks, big thighs.
Yeah.
And great footwork.
Yeah, hard to tackle. Nice little offload as well there from Whai Money, who I've enjoyed watching this afternoon. And, of course, he's from Wesley College. Now, Wesley doesn't have a huge reputation rugby league-wise, but in defence of that attitude, the Tongan community are hoping to create any pathways, any opportunities for their men to excel in sport, whether that's in the 13 or 15-man code. And so there are a number of players here who have rugby pedigree and experience, but when the chance, it's a good kick, but it comes off the cowhorns. When the chance comes to pull on the red jersey, well, that's a different thing. And so as we can see, there's plenty of mobility, good offloads, good foresight, stepping abilities on show. And so these players are able to transition between one code to the next. And let's face it, Lowly, we've had plenty of Tongan Rugby League internationals who have really grown up through a rugby union system.
And I think it's Seal Cully from this side as well, who just last week was playing in the DJ Forbes side for the Warriors Academy boys, who actually made the tournament team. So that is huge in itself, up against a lot of rugby guys, and it just shows the ability of these guys. You mentioned from a spectator's point of view, it's great to be watching rugby league again live on Sky Sport. Good hit there, but for these players to actually play the game they love, it's even better, right? They haven't played it enough because of the pandemic we find ourselves in.
Well, if you're looking for some big hits and some good attitude on show, and some good technique, this certainly is an opportunity across this weekend to witness some of these young guys on the rise. Because you and I called a lot of under-20 footy, and we've seen how many of them have converted into long-term NRL careers over the years. Well, as I said right at the very get-go of this clash this afternoon, who knows where some of these guys might end up as we look out wide and find Moi to ground just a couple of metres in, midway between the 20 and 30. One of the Niue players down and will need some attention. The grubber kick is smart, but it's taken at the back. Nicely read there by Felipe Taleso. But really, Niue are in significant trouble. As you can see, the forwards are slow to get back. Tonga are really starting to lift the attitude as Diesel Flow goes to ground with it, still short of the 10-metre line. Little step, but Tonga have grown another leg. That
high shot
was deemed high. As we just pay some attention to the young guy who went down on the far side of the field, Monty.
Yeah, I think it could be as simple as cramp. As we mentioned in this heat, fast-paced games, that is... No, I think he's checking the knee, actually.
Well, let's hope that
lateral ligaments.
Yeah, that's the number 5 who did so well with 2 tries in that first half.
Niue, you see him just limp off. Then exactly right. You know, he showed the twinkle toes early on to avoid going out to score the first try, and then soon after scored another. It's going to be a war of attrition over these 3 days. Who can keep people on the field? I know Fiji earlier on today lost a few members of their squad, which makes it a little bit harder. It's a fight against time to be ready for the next game.
Well, the Pasifika Youth Cup is quite a relatively new iteration of tournament play here in NZ. It started off way back in 2017. It was held predominantly at Cornwall Park, and then 2018-19 also. But of course, 2020 and 21, all Pasifika Rugby League in Auckland was cancelled due to COVID. So we've been out of the cold for a couple of seasons, and now we've come from out of the cold into the sweltering heat of this 3-day comp. Niue are proud, but they've just been outgunned at the moment here.
So Langapore's been good. He's made some decisive runs. He's put on some big shots. He's even towering over and giving some verbals. So, well, tell you what, this Tonga side, you don't want to go through the middle. Some very big boys. They play away from the middle, which is good, but unfortunately, that ball goes to ground.
Well, Siale is already under the eye, the watchful eye of the Warriors squad. A bit difficult too, with them being based in Australia, to really feel part of the action. And while, you know, you might get a tracksuit and a bit of a nod, I guess there's many temptations too, because NRL clubs are really scouting around to just see the young guys never played a first grade game from Queensland, who Bellamy's just signed for $2.5 million.
Oh, wow.
You know, 105 kg, plenty of skill in the 2019 Aussie schoolboys. So you've got to be good to make that team And as we know, well, there just hasn't been the representative opportunities, whether it's in open play or here in junior play. Well, here's a run. Down the edge we come, and a step back on the inside, a scrambling defensive effort from Ben Pene. Halts the run there of La'akulu, but still well positioned here, Tonga. Already up plenty.
Oh, good shot.
Very good shot. And what was absolutely needed. So, hey, they're not without some attitude here as Zacharias Stevenson.
That is textbook. Have a look at this, right in under the ball. He came from the blind side, which helped him out as well. The wrap was there too, a little bit late because of the impact, which forced him back, and we were just giving him a wrap. Siale Suelanga ball, but that time was a good shot. Exactly what Niue needed. Turn position over now with the last 13 minutes to make a run for it. Finish strong in this match.
Follow with the scrum feed now, and Niue have their opportunity. Tackle number 1. Don't have the tackle tick running as we do sometimes in the NRL. That'll be 2 and on the 20-metre line. Niue. They find just a little bit of verve and attitude to incorporate into their attack. Right edge play. And a fair bit of one-out running, which has been easy pickings for our Tongan defence, who've been well trained here by Solomon Fiketi. To incorporate them pretty easily, pretty comfortably, as the back row, Fulamu Kamutoa, will play the ball. Still unable to get to the halfway line. There's a kick, perhaps should have been deeper. As it turns out, Lakulu fumbles on the 30-metre line, and so Niue will have a chance as the scrum sets 20 metres in from the northern touchline.
Yeah, unfortunately, the unforced error, but let's go back to Siale Suelangapo. You know, obviously he made the mistake up that end, which was a good shot, but then he goes out and says, whatever you can do, I can do better. He puts on 2 or 3 himself, and that's what the sort of character you want to see out of these youngsters coming through. He didn't hide away. He put up his hand and he rolled up his sleeves and he got nice and dirty, and I tell you what, he makes some big collisions there on behalf of his side. Unfortunately, the kick didn't go to hands.
Yeah, Siale is, I think, the only representative in this Tongan team anyway from Dilworth, as we see an opportunity here in a squeezed run. A fine run. Good setup here. 10 metres out from the try line as Versace Wada, who gets them set. Niue on the far side will capitalise, and they will be in to score on the far side of the field. Well, they looked at the scoreboard and they realised they're a long way off, but Niue Pride sees them into the corner, and they'll kick themselves into double figures. Good try.
AJ Sua Bacon, you know, you've got a prop scoring on the left wing or edge. I mean, that's some great stuff. But Niue, they knew what they had to do. They summed it up nicely after making the initial break. Look at that. From prop to score on the left wing. You don't often see that down. Tell you what, only in the Pasifika colours.
Well, look at those two brothers. Look at that hug. It says a lot, doesn't it, about whānau and a lot about footy. But it was Shane who delivered it to AJ. And what a great sight it was for them and for Niue, as that try was scored in the corner, as you say, by a prop forward running wide.
Off his brother with the try assist. You just don't get those things happening.
And he's sporting the hell mullet too, I might add, AJ. But then again, mullets are the fashion statement. I notice you don't have one.
I probably could have a mullet, because that's probably the only area which I can actually grow or have an opportunity to let my hair flourish a little.
Let your hair down, Monty. Let your hair down. Stay with us this afternoon too, because we've still got more action for you. It is New Zealand Māori up against the Cook Islands. The latter might struggle too, because they got well sorted in their match against Tonga earlier today. Out wide, the kick. Well, it was never going to be there. You've been to Niue?
No, I haven't.
Our daughter went up there. She's travelled to most of the islands. She said it's just absolutely beautiful, and perhaps the most beautiful, but no offence to our Tongan viewers today, or our Samoan viewers, or Fijian viewers. But everyone's got to like somewhere, and she fell in love with Niue. Have to put it on the bucket list there, Monty.
Absolutely. Got a lot of these islands, and you refer to each and every one of them as being paradise at that particular moment in time when you're enjoying the hospitality of the beautiful people.
Sure. This place ain't bad either. Had a good summer as Niue. Now set themselves for a centre field run. 25 out from their own line. And now the score is 28 points to 12. With that try there from AJ, saw Bacon. No shame in the effort, although this is danger time here for Niue. Funupula slow to his feet this time around, and then it's fed up by Fukafuka. These Tongan players play with a lot of confidence. If they can get through the gaps. Feokorp, strong, powerful, and almost to the line. Just a blade of grass in it. Got to fancy their chances now as the big number 20. Sialangupo also has a charge at the line. Vulipula peels the ball back to Semato, who bumps off one, now two, shrugging, turning, offloading, widing, scoring. It's as simple as that. And beautiful work for Whaamani. The lead up from his big forwards in the middle was superb, and he was there to receive out wide and puts another nail in the coffin here of the Niuean efforts. But take nothing away from Tonga. Confidence levels high. They'll be tough to beat in this tournament.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. They're going to take some beating. I tell you what, you saw them play out on this edge a number of times when they came out there. It's not only just size and speed that they've got. They've got, you know, some rugby league IQ. As we hear the sound of Tonga make its way through this stadium, brings back the memories of Sea of Red of Mount Smart Stadium. Mate Tonga did some wonderful things.
I mean, how good is that? It just sort of echoes around this stadium. I hope you're enjoying it from home. We get to see a lot of sport, but, you know, our Pasifika Cuzzies bring a lot of emotion and colour to our experience of modern-day sport here in Aotearoa. Thanks, boys. Beautiful singing voices. And Tonga showing just how good they are going to be and how tough they will be to beat 34-12.
Well, they follow the lead of their captain, Willie Piliu. He's been exceptional. Tell you what, he's got an engine on him too for a young half. Doesn't mind going to the line. He sets up his outsides nicely. Very good talker too. And you've got leaders like that on the field. It just makes it so much easier to follow.
They'll still hold their heads high here, Niue. Don't worry about that. Certainly no reason to hang their heads as they depart the field. Just came up with a slick outfit. As mentioned, a lot of them already with development opportunities with the Warriors and other clubs. Well, that was always going to be a forward pass. Here's 4-on-1 or 4-on-2, and now some speed shown, a dummy, wheels to burn, looking backwards, fending, scoring a wonderful try. What a big effort that is for Sione Makasini. And really peeling back the meters and just showing what a force Tonga is in this under-18 category or tournament. Brilliant play. Let's have another look at it.
Well, Dale, you cannot coach speed. I tell you what, the setup was nice as well, but as soon as you get the ball in the hand, look at the injection of pace. He pretty much just toys with four individuals in, and he holds them up too, just with that carry. But in the end, that pace was just too much for the cover coming across. Love seeing it. Sione Makasini. A lot of pace throughout this team as we look again. We can watch this replay all day. Look at it. Here's his numbers on the inside out. Just a little drop of shoulder on occasion. Look at that. Shows outside. Just does enough to beat them. A little bit of a swerve. And that strength carries him over. Chase back was good too from Niue. We can't say that wasn't. But in the end, the individual brilliance from that young man was just a little bit too much.
Johnny Makasini from the Sacred Heart College out in Auckland's east. Classy try. That'll look good on his show reel or footy CV. This man's got it all going on as well. Willie Peliu. Did he pick up the wind? It's a tough one too because the wind is actually pushing back towards Willie. That one goes across the face of the goal mouth and will be unsuccessful, but what has been successful is the way they've stuck to their guns. Conceding 2 early tries, Tonga, but they didn't worry about that too much. In about 20 minutes, they went with 3 tries back-to-back, taking into the break an 18-8 lead. And then off the back of the spell, it's only 5-minute spells, I might add, Moi Tau in to score. They gave themselves a little bit of hope with a try by Sua Bacon, Niue, but then the last couple of tries really have punched the scoreline way out beyond reach for Niue. Let's hope they don't concede another try in the last 3 minutes. It's certainly possible with the confidence levels that the Tongan team are carrying right now, and as we saw a few moments ago from Makasini.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if there is a couple of tries scored, it's not through the lack of effort from this Niue side, which is always a plus from a coaching point of view. It's when there's no effort, that's when you get a little bit worried about the way the floodgates have opened. Doesn't seem to be the case. This game's been a little bit closer than the scoreline suggests.
I'd have to agree with that, just reminding you of what's to come in the tournament in the days ahead. Tomorrow, Fiji line up against Tonga. That's Tongan development squad, I might add, at 11. And it runs through 1, 3 and 5. Tonga line up against New Zealand Māori. That'll be a classic, one to watch out for tomorrow afternoon. Niue will take on the Tongan development squad. And at 5 o'clock, the Cooks line up against Fiji. Come Sunday, 3 games, 11, 1 and 3. First one, obviously, playing for 3rd place in the championship. Then the 3rd place in the tournament. Championship final at 1 and the Premiership final at 3. Plenty of footy to come here in the Pasifika Youth Cup. Live from North Harbour Stadium here on Sky Sport. Hope you can join us for some, if not all, of the games going forward. Last couple of minutes. Big scoreline. Some big efforts. And showing some big heart, even on the losing teams. It is hot as out here at North Harbour Stadium, so hats off to these young fellas. You know, they've been working hard out there for their coaches.
He's been good. Ben Bennett, a couple of hits, some surging runs. He loves to compete. And he pulls up his socks. What a player, Dal.
What a player. I like these young guys too because they'll get out and have a go on the footy field, run their hearts out. I reckon they'd be content to stay on their couch if Mum says, will you go out and mow the lawns?
And the spirit in the way it's all been played, which, you know, with such physicality and the X factor, has been what's been most admirable about today.
Yeah, good point too. Monty, who likes those brutal shunts, does Lowly. So we're still set. Niue might bounce another one. Darting little run too from Jeremiah Cullen, who has had moments of real class through this 58 minutes gone. That one's been left behind. Referee says we'll pack a scrum. Maybe yes, maybe no, as I don't think we'll get a chance to do that according to our clock. Just 10 seconds to play. So good to see Sika Pole, the Pole boys scoring. Lakulu, Moi and Tau, Fire Money and Makasini. And a couple to miss in Niue and AJ Sua Brown for Niue. But here after 60 minutes in game number 4 of the Pasifika Youth Cup at North Harbour, Tonga, too strong. They win this one against Niue, 38-12. Well, that was a good game, Monty, and looking forward to the next one as well. But Tonga, got a lot of classy players in there and some names to watch, no doubt, going forward.
I think it's going to be the team to beat. Tell you what, they are a force with the ball in hand. But both these sides, you wouldn't realise that they played earlier today and both were victorious. Enjoying the next couple of days that are coming up. But still, one more game to come, Dale.
And a great celebration of rugby league, live rugby league too, in the under-18s here from North Harbour Stadium. 38-12 scoreline, Tonga successful. Niue will go and lick their wounds, but they've got to come and front up again tomorrow, as we will too, in about 40 minutes' time. We'll return you to the studio. Next game sees the Cook Islands against New Zealand Māori, scheduled for a 5 p.m. kickoff. I hope to catch you then. From all of us here at North Harbour Stadium, until then, hei konei rā.